And good evening, everyone. I'm Meteorologist John Jurgens here with a little update here on maybe a little bit of a hiccup to our holiday travel plans for Monday morning. So if you're tuning in here on WREX.com or on the 13 News app or on our Facebook and YouTube pages, thanks for joining me here. We just got a quick update here on a little bit of slippery travel, it looks like, for tomorrow morning. If you are with us on Facebook, you can send in any questions that you have as I go through the little forecast here, and then otherwise, if you just, anything you need to know, just, we always love to help you here. So let's first off just go through kind of what's going on right now. So we have dry conditions across much of the area now. You can see a little bit of, what looks like to be some rain or snow on exact track radar, but there's plenty of dry air near the surface tonight. So we're not going to get any kind of precipitation tonight. So we're dry. We're on the milder side. Temperatures hanging right around freezing over the last few hours. However, it's with that low pressure system that is off to our north, or off to our west, I should say. That is going to be what brings in the more inclement weather that we're looking at. It's looking like a kind of drizzly kind of weather, so it's not truly rain shower activity that we're watching out for. It's going to be just very light activity. So it may seem like nothing, but when you've got the elements that are just kind of lining just into place, as like we will have over the next 24 hours or so, well, really over the next 12 to 18 hours or so, that's really when we're going to be seeing that activity potentially turning a little wintry, even though we see the warmer temperatures already on the way. So I'll go further here just to show you the current alerts that we have now. We have a winter weather advisory that has been posted across all of southern Wisconsin. This goes into effect at 3 a.m. and lasts until 3 p.m. The reason we don't have any advisories across northern Illinois is because A, the threat is just lower, and also it's just over a shorter period of time, so it's not really going to be a major issue across northern Illinois, but still, we could be looking at some slippery travel across the entire area heading into tomorrow morning. So that really is something to take seriously. And as you can read there, we're mainly focusing on bridges and overpasses as well as untreated roads and sidewalks. So, if you have a little bit of time, just before you head to bed, if you have some salt laying around in the garage, maybe toss that out onto the driveway or onto the sidewalk here as just before you head to bed tonight. That'll really go a long way into help keeping things, nice and smooth across, at least in your, yard and your driveway. But really, we're just hoping that, we can get through this okay, but we just have to watch out for that potential for slippery travel across really the whole area. Highest impacts, though, are looking to be across southern Wisconsin. So now taking a look at future track. We're going to be watching this activity trying to come in as soon as about 4 o'clock in the morning or so, probably more likely towards 5 and 6 o'clock. And then, as you can see, turning much more widespread here towards 8 o'clock. So this is the heart of the morning commute here. So as you see that pink color there, that's where we're looking at that potential for some freezing rain, some very light or drizzle here. And when we see that freezing rain and freezing drizzle, that's liquid rain falling. So, if you step outside and hold your hand out, you'll see that it's rain, but it'll freeze once it hits the ground because we've got pavement temperatures that are still just below freezing at this point because temperature's still, kind of catching up here because we've had a big warm up here, about 15 to 20 degrees over the past 24 hours. So it takes a little bit longer for the pavement to get there. So that's why we're talking about that potential for slippery road conditions. However, later on in the morning, we'll start to see that transition to all rain. There you see by about 10 o'clock, you'll see mostly across northern Illinois how you're seeing that activity turning into all rain. You see the green color there. And then to the north into Wisconsin, they're looking at more snow into really north of that state line. Could have a few snowflakes mixing in, and that could be the case even further into northern Illinois. So like the US 20 corridor, maybe even as south as the Route 64 corridor, could have a snowflake or two mixing in. However, the better chances for any more wintry weather would be into southern Wisconsin as that warmer air continues to feed in from the north. And as you can see, by noon, we're looking at all rain across northern Illinois. So that would be truly when the ice threat really goes away. And I think it'll maybe even be just before noon that we can, kind of give the all clear in terms of any icing conditions across northern Illinois. And then towards the latter part of the mid to late afternoon, that's going to be when we start to dry things out, at least in terms of the light rain showers. There still could be some patchy drizzle, as you can see there, into the afternoon hours, but we're talking about all rain there, no icing concerns there. Temperatures will be well above freezing by that point. So here's kind of the breakdown here of what we're looking at. Really between 4 and 10 a.m. is what I think is the prime time here for any icing concerns. Definitely after 10 o'clock, that's when we're seeing that ice melting away. Maybe still seeing some icing concerns near that Wisconsin state line and points off to the north. So, and we're also not talking about, huge ice accumulations here, only just a little glaze of ice, but really that's all you need just to lose traction. So pretty much the big impacts here, going to be a little slow going, and also watch out for those slippery and icy spots as you head out the door tomorrow morning. So, travel, tomorrow is going to be the biggest travel day probably of the entire year, it looks like. So, this is, kind of just an unfortunate timing here. So if you are planning on traveling, either, kind of postpone it towards the afternoon hours, or if you really need to head out in the morning, you've got a flight to catch, just be very careful. Give yourself plenty of time. Leave, a little bit earlier tomorrow morning, just so that you can account for that slower travel, and really just accounting for the icy conditions out there on the roadways. Again, bridges and overpasses really are going to be the big things to worry about here, because those are the elevated surfaces, those are the ones that freeze first, and then also those untreated roadways and the sidewalks as well. So you really want to take that carefully. And then again, like I mentioned, highest impacts here are going to be across Wisconsin at this point. So Andy, early in the morning, about 6 to 9, just be really careful. Just leave a little bit earlier there as you head out the door, just to just leave a little bit of time, extra time there, so that we can account for the the longer travel times. And then also just try to be careful out there. Take turns a little easier. That kind of thing. It's a little bit of what we saw last Saturday, if you recall. Probably not going to be as widespread or as much ice, but just nonetheless, you really want to take that seriously, because any ice on the road, is really something that you don't want to mess with. So that's why, really want to be taking it careful as you're kicking off your holiday travel tomorrow morning. So here's a look at the travel forecast across the area, and there you can take that full there. So really, we're looking at minor impacts here. If you're heading north into Wisconsin, that's what we're talking about, that we're seeing some higher impacts in terms of, temperatures staying coldest the longest. Across northern Wisconsin, they could be looking at some heavy snow at times through the morning and even later in the day. So if you are heading north, be careful. We're looking at potential more snow, especially as you head north of Madison and Milwaukee. Will be lighter amounts of snow in the Madison and Milwaukee areas. And then as you head farther south towards Janesville, Beloit, Lake Geneva, those areas, not necessarily looking at too much of any real snow accumulation. Just could be some snowflakes mixed in with that freezing drizzle in the morning. Otherwise, travel looking okay. Maybe watching out for some fog in the morning on Christmas Eve. So we'll have to watch out for that. Could be a tail out of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer there. But then otherwise, looks like rain chances on Christmas Eve night into Christmas Day morning. Looking like those rain chances are holding off to our south. So, of course, we'll keep crossing our fingers there. I did keep some slight chances there in the forecast for Christmas Eve night and into Christmas Day. Best chances, though, holding off to our south. Even if we do see some rain, it's going to be pretty light. No real issues to think about there, because if anything, if that system keeps pushing further north, that means our temperatures keep boosting higher and higher. So we're just looking at all liquid rain there, no real freezing kind of issues there to contend with. So otherwise, here's your forecast for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Tuesday, high in the middle 30s, so we'll kind of take a step back. Monday will be close to 40, and then on Tuesday, we'll take a step back in the wake of that system passing through. And then, like I mentioned, keeping a light rain chance, or low rain chance, I should say, to our south. And then into Christmas Day, again, still factoring into that slight chance for rain, but it does look like we'll get through the day dry. However, we're getting through the holidays pretty cloudy, too. Not going to be a whole lot of sunshine to look at, but with those temperatures above freezing there, 36 on Christmas Eve, 39 on Christmas Day. Linnell asking White Christmas, Linnell asking about Elizabeth, White Christmas. Probably not, just because we're seeing, multiple days here just above freezing. So it looks like most, if not all of that snow is going to melt away. I would still think that there's still a little bit of snow on the ground, but probably, the qualification for a white Christmas is an inch of snow on the ground at 6 a.m. And I think we may just get under an inch, if we really have much snow on the ground at all by Christmas morning. So fortunately, might just be just a little bit too early here in terms of when we got that snowfall last week. So, it's the downside, but hey, at least, we're not looking at active snow falling. We're not seeing huge travel impacts here this go around. And then actually, you see that high of 39. There was a little, I was trying to look at some past data here, so a little trivial here. So our forecast high is 39. That's right around average, 32 degrees, so just above average. Now, the strange thing here was that the last Christmas day that we've had in the 30s, you have to go back 8 years. It seems a little strange, right? If our average high is around freezing, you'd think we'd see a lot of days in the 30s, but it's been 8 years since we've seen it, and since 2016, we've had 2 Christmases in the teens, even below zero in terms of the nighttime temperatures, and we've had 3 days in the 50s, 2 of them in the top 2 in terms of the warmest Christmases on record. The second warmest was last year, and the warmest Christmas on record was back in 2019. So had a whole big swings in terms of temperatures just from year to year on Christmas. Now, still, looking like we're going to be pretty much right on average here. So, at least we have a more typical Christmas to enjoy, not needing to blast the heat or even blasting the AC, depending on how much food you're cooking and when the oven's on. So, really looking at, just finally, a little typical Christmas, even though, like Linnell's saying, it's still pretty white here. There's still some snow on the ground, but just over the next few days, that the warmer temperatures are going to melt, if not just compact that snow down. So it may just fall just under an inch there on a Christmas day. So, there may still be just a little bit of snow, so there may still be just a little white covering the ground, but in terms of an inch, probably not, it looks like, unfortunately. So kind of just, like I mentioned, just a little early here on the snowfall. We needed just, a couple more days. If we had something, either today or yesterday, if we had a little more snow, falling, then we might just get past that line. But unfortunately, just not the year for it for this year. So, and then as we head after Christmas, though, and here's a little update. So for your travel on home, temperatures are getting even warmer. We're getting into the 40s and the 50s after Christmas. So, you get even warmer here for the last few days of the year of 2024. So kind of a fitting end. But also those rain chances are going up, especially on Friday. That's when we're watching out for. We're going to have multiple systems rolling through the area. So, there's going to be some dry time in between those systems, but we kind of have just persistent chances for rain really starting Thursday night, and then really lasting through next weekend as those temperatures climb through the 40s and into the low 50s. I mean, that's impressive for late December here. Wow, I'm getting my months mixed up now. Just don't want 2024 to end, I guess. But as we head into the last few days of 2024, kind of just a year in recap where you could be lining up for one of the warmest years on record. I think now we're sitting in a close second in terms of the warmest years on record, at least from last check over the last couple of days. But, and with these warmer days up ahead, we're pretty much right in line. So the warmest year that we've had ever in Rockford's recorded history is back in 2012. We're kind of getting close to it. So, of course, we'll keep you updated on that. Just, another little, trivial bit there for, and, maybe setting a little record here, but definitely looking like potentially top 5 warmest year on record here in Rockford for 2024. And the last bit of December is sort of looking like to be the kind of just the recap of what has been a very warm year in 2024. So just to recap here, I'll go through this forecast once again in case people are just joining us here on our website or on YouTube or Facebook. Again, if you have any questions, make sure to send them here. So right now, tonight, we're staying nice and dry. We have a warm front that's moving through Iowa. It's going to be crossing the Mississippi River here over the next few hours through the overnight hours. And that's going to be what we watch out for in terms of seeing the potential for some freezing drizzle to develop across our area late tonight, early tomorrow morning is the time frame. So we do have winter weather advisories posted across southern Wisconsin. They have not been issued for northern Illinois. So the Weather Service office in Milwaukee has covered southern Wisconsin in winter weather advisories from 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's because temperatures are going to be coldest, the longest north of the Wisconsin state line, and potential for further travel impacts. Meanwhile, in northern Illinois, not necessarily looking at as long of a travel impact. So right now, not seeing an advisory, but kind of just efforting the message across the whole area that we still will have, it looks like, some slippery spots on the roadways. So if you're heading out early in the morning, you really want to take it, you'll be very careful here, especially bridges, overpasses like the flyovers on the interstates. You want to be careful on those, and then untreated roads and sidewalks. You want to be very careful if you're driving or you're walking out there. Want to be very careful because we could have some ice issues with some freezing drizzle. So here's another look here at future track. Going to be seeing this activity rolling in as soon as about 4 or 5 o'clock, becoming widespread during that morning commute here. And when you see that pink color, kind of remember like what we saw on Saturday. That's that freezing rain, although at this point it's going to be so light, it's pretty much freezing drizzle. So it's not really going to accumulate all that much, but all you need is just a little glaze of ice, and then you lose traction out there. So you just want to be very careful. You want to drive slow. So give yourself a little extra time. I know, it's Christmas Eve we're talking about now. This is one of, if not the busiest travel days of the year. So it's, you want to get to your destination. I know you want to get there. You want to get there as quick as you can, but you really just want to take it slow out there if you're heading out early in the morning. As we head towards about 10 o'clock, or especially by noon, we're going to see those warmer temperatures rolling back in from the south. So you start to see that transition to that all rain there from south to north. So especially by noon, I think northern Illinois should be in the clear in terms of any kind of icy situations on the roads. That'll be limited to southern Wisconsin, where you even see some light snow beginning to mix in there towards the early parts of the afternoon. And then the showers begin to move out, though some patchy drizzle may still be hanging around towards the afternoon hours, though especially by the afternoon, we're looking at temperatures well above freezing. By that point, we've got highs getting even close to 40, it looks like, in the afternoon. So we'll see that kind of icy activity going well away as we head towards the afternoon. So really the main timing I'm looking at here is between 4 and 10. And if you're heading further north towards Wisconsin, some of that icy conditions on the roadways could even last longer than that towards the few hours in the early afternoon. And like I mentioned, we're not talking about any kind of big ice accumulations here. We're just looking at a glaze of ice on the roadways, but that's all you need just to lose that traction out there. So you really want to take it slow. Watch out for those slick spots. You can't necessarily guess where they are. They're just going to show up there, and once you lose traction, that's how you know the road is slick. So you just want to be very careful. Give yourself plenty of time to get to your destination. If you've got a flight to catch in Chicago or Milwaukee, wherever you're flying, just give yourself a little extra time. Leave a little bit earlier here in the morning, just to give yourself that extra time, because travel is going to be slower, and you want to be driving slow because of that icy conditions out there on the roadways. And then watch out for higher impacts if you are driving into Wisconsin, because especially if you're heading into central and northern Wisconsin, they could be looking at some heavier snow, especially north of Madison and Milwaukee. So you want to watch out for that carefully. Otherwise, we see that the icy conditions melting away by the afternoon, and then we're kind of smooth sailing from there. We'll watch out for maybe some foggy conditions in the morning on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Eve night into Christmas Day itself. We're watching out for some rain to be moving into southern and central Illinois. So far, we're looking dry. I kept small chances for rain in the forecast for Christmas Eve night into Christmas Day. However, a lot of the pretty much all of the models except really one, are keeping any kind of rain shower activity to our south. Even if we do see any rain, going to be very light, nothing too impactful. You just might need the rain jacket with you if you see that rain starting to fall. But so far, so good in terms of staying dry for Christmas Eve and day itself. Though it will be pretty cloudy though during those 2 days, so unfortunately not going to see a whole lot of sunshine. But temperatures are going to be staying above freezing, it looks like, at least in terms of our afternoon highs. Middle 30s on Christmas Eve, upper 30s near 40 on Christmas Day. So really not a huge change between those 2 days. And then as we head after the holidays, though, that's going to be when we watch out for even warmer temperatures, but also even more rain, it looks like. So, classic Midwesterners saying, at least it's not snow. So, we'll take that as a feather in our cap here, that at least travel won't be impacted too much as we head home from the holidays with those highs in the 40s and 50s. It's going to be safely all rain. However, it looks like a pretty soggy wrap up to the week up ahead, especially on Friday. That's going to be when we're watching to see those higher chances for rain coming through. We'll have multiple systems coming through as early as Thursday night and then lasting through next weekend. So we'll have multiple waves coming through. There will be dry time in between them, but still, those systems, when they roll through, looking at some pretty soggy conditions here as we head into at least the drive, and the flights coming home may still have some rain to contend with after the holidays. So Linnell saying, planning on being home most of the day, baking cookies. That is absolutely 100% recommended. That's just really any day. whether we've got some freezing drizzle in the morning, or whether it's just a nice day, just this time of year, just sitting at home baking cookies. That really sounds like really kind of the A+ kind of thing there. So hopefully you're all having a nice and happy holiday. And of course, make sure to stay tuned to the forecast. Meteorologist Claudia Olek will be here in the morning to keep you one step ahead of those icy road conditions. And of course, make sure to just stay tuned to 13 News throughout the day tomorrow. And then as the icy conditions move away, hopefully we can have some safer travel here in the days leading up to the holidays. So that's it for me tonight. Of course, I'll have an update here on 13 News at 10. And then as I mentioned, 13 News today, I'll have all the latest tomorrow morning. So make sure to stay safe and stay warm out there and have a happy holiday.